Good morning, this is Robin Bieber on Chart Talk on the 14th of May at 07:05 in the morning London time. The chart in front of us is June RBOB and it's the most important contract on the board today. In technical terms, WTI is in a different place from the rest, so we'll deal with that in a minute. But the general comments I make apply to everything other than our WTI. The contracts are in trouble. They're completing a slingshot move from the 5 and 8s down to the 13s. And here you can see this perfectly on this chart of RBOB. Here's the 5 and 8s, the failure, and then down to the 13-day. Today coming in around 84.87. It's the single most important support on the board today, or pivot point. It's just below there at the moment, which is not a major issue for the first hour or two, but it is absolutely important that this level is moved and closed above. A failure here would be an early warning signal to the rest to move lower, and they are all at their 13-day moving averages. It's a really critical point today. RBOB gave the early warning signal on its negative stochastic a couple of days ago that all was not well, and the market has now followed that signal. The stochastics are negative on all contracts bar WTI. Every contract failed at its 5 and 8-day moving average on the rally yesterday, and here you can see this perfectly. A move and close it below this 84.87 area, it would be extremely negative and it would suggest a further slingshot move lower. So watch this level very carefully. Any rally up to the 5 and 8s is likely to attract some selling, as it did yesterday, and we are now in what I'd call 13-day moving average testing mode. Be careful. Now, if we move over to WTI, it is slightly delinked at the moment. It is the only contract above its 5 and 8-day moving averages. These must hold, or it joins the rest in the move lower to the 13-day moving average, which in WTI's case is quite some way lower, around 21.84. If it holds the 5 and 8s, it's in good shape and could retest the 2016 low at 26.05 again. It did that yesterday and then faltered to close below it. 26.05 is a fairly major hurdle, which I suspect it will struggle to get above. Watch the 5 and 8s is the message here. The stochastic note has not turned negative yet. On Brent, below the 5 and 8s, has found the 5 and 8s rather difficult resistance, even though breaching it over the last 2 or 3 days, and they've been sort of pivotal levels, support and resistance, depending on whether the market's been above or below them. But now it is below the 5 and 8s, and whilst it stays below them, and they're approximately co-located at around about 29.70 to 90 area, below 29.70 to 90, and it looks like it's heading for the 13-day moving average, which comes in today around about 28.18. That is what we would expect to happen after a move and close below the 5 days like yesterday. It should head lower to the 13-day. Meanwhile, heating oil has hit and held its 13-day, which today comes in around 82.67. That level must hold, or it's going south, and is set to challenge the recent lows around 67.24. In other words, this 13-day is absolutely critical. Note a negative stochastic. The gas oil is holding its 13-day moving average around 245.75. It's printing 246.25. If it moves and closes below this 13-day, it hasn't got much support to stop it going down to the recent lows. It may not reach there, but it would certainly be weak. So the message today is WTI is a little bit linked. Whilst it's above its 5 and 8-day moving averages, there's no hint of a move lower on WTI. The rest are challenging their 13-day moving averages, and I repeat, the key 13-day is RBOB because it gives so many early warning signals. Here it is, around about 84.85 area. It's printing 84.77. This is an absolute must-watch level. Now, if we look at a little bit of structure, particularly back-end structure, red deck on WTI, moved and closed below the 5-day. Looks like it too will head for the 13-day around minus 457. This is critical support for it. This negative stochastic here is not good. And the red deck on Brent is testing its 13-day moving average at 493. It's printing 489. In other words, it's a mirror image of what's going on flat price. If it does not hold 493, it's heading lower and will be in trouble. So watch that very carefully indeed. The 60-minute charts on both RBOB and Brent, and this is Brent, are suggesting the next 2 or 3 hours should see firmer numbers, that we should see something of a recovery from yesterday's rather poor closes. And if we look at RBOB, here we've got RBOB trying hard to push a little bit higher, and it's suggestive that the London morning, early at least, will witness some firmness and an attempt to rally. The 5 and 8 day moving averages are serious resistance now on all contracts bar WTI. Watch RBOB and the rest 13-day moving average. They're absolutely critical. Price cycle completing, slingshot move, support. That's all for today. Good luck, good trading, and bon appetit.